Do not try to get watches that people trying to get, but rather really get something that you really like.
Welcome to the BIGTime Podcast, and today we are at a very special venue. Thanks to Changi Jewel for allowing us to shoot here, and thanks for Melvin for suggesting this place. So we have Melvin here today. So Melvin is a close friend of us and BIGTime also. And today we would like to invite you to share with us your experience of this hobby. Right, sure. Welcome Melvin.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Before we start, maybe a little bit of introduction to everyone about yourself.
Hi, I'm Melvin. I've been collecting watches for 27 years now and counting.
Wow,
So in my collection, I have pieces that, let's say for example, this undone Mickey Mouse is maybe a few $100s. And I have pieces like right in front is the Lange pocket watch that's made in Germany. That's 113 years old.
Yeah.
So it's quite a range that I have.
Yeah, so you have a vast variety. We can also see some of the watches that you brought here today, right? Throughout this entire journey, maybe we go to the start. So can you let us know how did you get into this hobby?
Okay, so way back in 1998, so I was thinking, probably I want to start a hobby collecting something. So that time is either collecting people playing with hi-fi sets or things that, or maybe they buy some cars and they try to modify the car and all. So I was attracted by watches mainly because it's like for so small a space, there's hundreds of parts in it. So it sort of like captivated me, and then I saw there's a moon phase. I find that it's quite poetic and all. So that's how I got into the rabbit hole myself.
I see. So it all started off curiosity and wanting to understand what it's like. With such a small item, you have hundreds of parts.
So that's a good way of putting it. It's really such.
Because I started off with a similar kind of mindset, because it was quite fascinating that, something so small on the wrist actually has a few hundred components on top of it, and it can be assembled without using a battery everything, right? So it's actually quite fascinating. And over here we can see a vast variety of collections. So generally, what is your collecting habits, or what do I say? How do you choose your watches?
Actually, I'm very open to all brands, almost all brands, I would say. But what attracts me is about the craftsmanship, the effort that's put into the watch, whether is it the dial, the case design, or the finishing. So to me, I need to see the effort. The effort is what that really attracts me to watches and those that I want to really keep. But then again, you cannot own all the watches in the world, right? So you also learn to appreciate watches that your friends have. And that's how it is.
So I understand that you also do organize some gatherings and charities. I've attended a few of them together.
One of it is here.
So one of them is actually here also. So it's very fun and interesting. And also at the same time, based on what I understand from what you mentioned just now, so you're more into, other than just timekeeping, you're more into craftsmanship and the work, the effort behind every single timepiece, right?
So like for example, enamel is like, which I bought from Feynman, a few pieces. Is one of the craft that I particularly like. Because for enamel, you need to fire the glass beads, right? And it's really quite difficult because unlike painting, you can choose the colors that you want to paint. But for glass bead, let's say to get a blue, it's actually another color. Then it's based on a lot of experience from the craftsmen that actually get to know what colors to use, and then the temperature to fire them and things like that. And when you have complex pieces like the dragon piece, you have a lot of different colors and all. And so the number of times that you need to fire gets more, and then that gives errors, or that gives failures. That means the enamel may crack and things like that. So that goes to with jigsaw. So to get a good enamel piece is a lot of effort from the craftsman, and also in some of the cases, luck also. Right. So yeah, so that's how it is.
Yeah, so maybe a little bit for our audience. So enamel is actually a glass powder. So basically how you get the colors of the enamel, or for example, like this piece of diamond on the dowel, is that every single color has its relevant or accordingly glass powder. So it's not like watercolor where you can mix more water to get it lighter. But for enamel, you can't. So every single tone of, let's say, blue or green is a different powder. And every powder, as Melvin mentioned, will have to go through something called the oven. So the oven is about 750 to 1000 degrees, whereby you heat and melt the glass powder. That's where you get your enamel dowels. That's also what Melvin has just explained why he appreciates enamel a lot more, right? Because every color we have to go through the firing process in the oven, right? So I can also understand, because I'm also a big fan of enamel. That's why we had made a lot of enamel dowels with Charlotte herself. And also we have seen that you have one very interesting piece from Oris over here, right?
Yeah, it's also an enamel watch, and it's supposedly made by Anita Poche, who is the master.
One of the best in the industry for enamel.
So what's interesting about this piece is it's all in shades of blues. But to get the shades of blue so nicely done, you know, and the complexity of it is, I think I can imagine how complex it will be, lah. You know, because the melting point could be very similar, very close to each other, right? And then so you need to get it right is something that is really tough. But I think unfortunately because of the complexity, there are also not too many pieces of this. It's just like the dragon, there won't be too many of it, because it's just so complex for even the enamelists who are so experienced.
And it is very hard for enamelists to get it to be very, very consistent. It needs a lot of years of experience for enamelists. So this is what is very interesting about enamel watches. So I believe a lot of beginners would like to find out, like, because what we see over here is a very vast collection. So from all the way from mainstream brands and all the way to very luxury brands in Fugo and everything. So when you select your watches, how do you go from mainstream all the way to luxury, or did you start anywhere in between?
Oh, okay. I mean, I started with an Oris also. It's a moon phase complete calendar, because like I say, I find it quite poetic to have the moon phase. So I started with that. Then later on, chronograph is something that I think for guys we tend to want to have. So then I went to a Tag Heuer chronograph, and that's how I gradually get into it. I think like many collectors, we tend to go for brands, right, for a start. Because what brand is known to you and known to others, then you find that, oh, maybe it's more reliable or what. It can be, but it may not necessarily be so also. But let's say, then for a start, you start to get into certain brands, but after that, you also learn that actually micro brands, smaller brands like even Feynman and all the local, we have quite a lot of local micro brands also. They produce watches that are of very good value proposition. So those are timepieces that whether you are a seasoned collector or a new collector, watch enthusiast, it's a good starting point for the micro brands. So it need not always be, you go up the scale of the brands, the echelon of the brands. So you can actually open your mind and start exploring from micro brands to the more established brands.
So it means that the collecting journey is actually a fun process. It's not just about chasing brands and logos and stuff.
Definitely.
And maybe just to explain a little bit, because Melvin mentioned micro brands, right? So micro brands are actually, we call it small little independent brands, generally run by a single owner or maybe a really small team, and their production level is very small. So generally we have a lot of such so-called micro brands in the industry, maybe you want to tell our audience or maybe give some advice to our audience, especially those who are new to the hobby. So maybe any kind of advice, what they should look out for or how they can kickstart the hobby.
Okay, I think is don't be in a hurry to buy your first watch.
That's a very good advice.
Yeah. It's a good advice, but it's hard to follow.
Yeah. So most of us tend to regret.
Yeah.
Because we rush into buying.
Okay. So I want to. I mean, for me, I have quite a few pieces now. But I hardly sell any of them. So I have my very first piece, the orange that I mentioned, the moon face, until the last piece that I have collected recently. So when you have this complete collection of yours, you can actually look back and see how your collection has grown over the years, how your taste, how your preference for timepieces has evolved.
Yeah.
Right. So that itself is something to worth looking at. So the other aspect is what keeps me on in this hobby for 27 years and counting is because it's more than just watches. It's about people that you meet. Like that's how I get to meet Yong Kyung. It's also how you get experiences. Like for example, we visited watch manufacturers.
Yes.
Right. And then
all the factory visits.
Yeah. So that give us insights and also learn more about what goes behind the timepieces that we collect. So and also sometimes you have different type of experience. Like for example, because of collecting watches, I went to Olympic last year. Because of collecting watches, I get to stay in a hotel that was a 100 years old castle. So these are experiences that I hope watch collectors or watch enthusiasts can cherish more than just their timepieces or chasing after certain watches. And when I say chasing after certain watches, I mean do not collect or do not try to get watches that people are trying to get or sought after, so-called sought after timepieces, but rather really get something that you really like, so that you will want to keep them. Rather than, after a while you find you start questioning yourself, this is a very collectible watch that people are finding it hard to collect, but it may not suit you. That's something that I will advise watch enthusiasts, especially new watch enthusiasts, to really consider. So find out about what you really like, appreciate timepieces that your friends have or fellow watch enthusiasts have. So there's no need to really be in a hurry to buy timepieces in a hurry, and then you find maybe because of budget constraint, to get the next one you need to sell your earlier piece. So end up your collection really didn't grow so much over time. And then by then you have seen, I let go so many watches that in my earlier years, right? Then your collection is less complete. So these are what I would advise young watch enthusiasts who are new to this hobby to maybe think about.
In terms of collecting watches, which is something which is very close to me, I also feel that watches is a very emotional hobby. There is actually no logic behind collecting watches. So we tend to actually kind of be more tied to the memories while during this journey of collecting. Right. So there's a few questions which I'm very curious about. This personally, I would like to know. Like over the years, right? When you started collecting, there was no internet. Or there's no social media marketing stuff, right? So how do you find out about the watches?
That's a very, very good point and very relevant point. So initially when I started collecting in 1998 about that. Then there really wasn't much. So maybe there was a few social media like Watch Pro site, the purists they call themselves and things like. So some of the more known watch media friends like Jia Xian and Peter and some are in the group.
Yeah.
So before they diverse out, right? So you're right. So there was this period I somewhat stopped collecting.
Okay.
That was in the 2006 and 2008, whereby I collect less, partly because there wasn't much social media. It's not really about the social media, but rather the getting of people together. Yeah, because there's no social media, you don't know who to reach out to, right? So, and because you are also a new collector, then new watch enthusiast, you are not really known to brands. So you are less opportunity. There are less opportunity for you to be invited for events. And being invited to events is also the opportunity to meet more people, and then you talk about the passion and all. So so there wasn't so much, but during that period I collected less. That's true, but the thing is, it's still a hobby that I feel passionately about, which is why after a couple of years, then I re-look at it, and then I also start collecting, restart my journey again. So to put, which is slow down somewhat during that period, because there's nobody to share with, and nobody to discuss, and unlike now it's buzzing and all.
Social media is
information. So now, so that time you really need to depend on like that very few social media, and you rely a lot more on watch magazines. So watch magazine is actually how I get myself poisoned. So so that time, during that time, there were many more watch magazines around. Watch magazine titles around compared to now. But now, because of the social media, right, so it moved from print to online. So that's how it is.
So throughout your 27 years of journey, right? Because I know a lot of watch collectors, they actually experience some taste changes in between collecting, right? So do you see yourself in this journey, like from the start until now? Do you feel any difference in the taste of watches that you are buying now versus when you first started?
Actually, come to think of it, not so much. I was quite surprised also. Maybe because right from the start, I'm already very focused or very keen with the craftsmanship that I mentioned earlier, right? So, and also about the finishing. So that leads me, that give me a clear direction. How do I collect? But the one thing I did know, I did find out about myself is, after collecting timepieces for a certain number of years, I start to look at pieces that are a bit more quirky. You know, like this Mickey Mouse piece. That I probably will not see myself collecting in the first maybe 10 years of my journey, but later on when I saw there's some quirky pieces that came out, then I find it rather interesting. Of course, there's this Snoopy from Omega that is very soft, right, and popular because of the automaton, the simple automaton that it has, where Snoopy in the capsules fly over the moon, right? So after collecting watches for some years, I start to also look at pieces that are a little bit more fun, and maybe tell time in a different way. Like so it doesn't need to really be those classic pieces or the sports watches that we always know of, right? So, and the other one is of course vintages. Because
Okay.
after you collected the more current pieces, you also start to know more about the story and the history of the brands, right?
Yep.
So vintage is one of the collection that I also looking at. Like for example, this Tudor. It's a Submariner.
Yeah.
So, but the Submariner we know of today is Rolex, right?
Yeah.
But during that time, this is from the 90s, so it's about 30 years old now. So, Tudor Submariner is actually used by a lot of militaries all over the world.
Yeah.
This is one of the reasons I have the chance to come across this piece and I decide to collect this piece. Likewise, the Lange, the German-made pocket watch, which is like
the one we see here.
113 years old, right? With beautiful enamel down also, and full handle case back. So with a dust cover. So and this piece is still working magnificently. So that goes to show the quality of the watches that's being produced. Even during then, they don't have CNC machine and all the automation that we have today.
Yeah.
But the quality is not less compared to the watches of today. So the stories, the histories, are things that also attract me along the way in my watch collection. So, but maybe not in the first few years when you collect watches, because there's just too much to learn. Yeah, but as you get more experience, then you can take in more knowledge.
Yeah, so that's something very interesting because I think there are some collectors which we spoke to last time, right? They actually started from vintage. All the way, then slowly from vintage watches they collected the modern watches. But for you, it seems like you started from the modern watches first, and then slowly when you learn more about the brands and the history, then you get more interested, and you want to look at the vintage watches that they have created in the past. Yeah, so that's something quite interesting. So it also shows that the hobby is very diverse. So everyone is very different. There's nothing that is fixed that you have to follow.
Definitely.
So it's more of about your life experience and your collecting journey.
And what you're comfortable with, or what really attracts you, right?
Correct. So I have one last question for you, and I believe this is going to be a difficult question for you because you have a huge watch collection, right?
I would say huge.
If I were to ask you to choose 3 of your favorite watches among your collection, which 3 of them would it be?
Okay, I have thought about this question before because others has asked me before, but until today I couldn't have a definite answer. But one piece I must say I would definitely treasure and I will keep it for very long is the Rolex Workhorse, the 6694. It was owned by my grandfather, who has passed on some years ago. So the sentimental value of the watch is enormous lah. So it's not an expensive watch, right? You can get it outside for 2,000, 3,000 for a very good quality, good condition one. But sentimental value of timepieces is something that I hold dear to lah. You know, some watches, the other watches also may have story to it. Like for example, I get to know Feynman because I read an article by Lynette, who wrote about the enamel pieces that you all did, Peranakan story, and then I see, it's like a work of so many local craftsmen and ladies who bring the piece to fruition. So that's how I get to know Feynman, and I bought this piece. So that emotion, that sentimental value is something that I think when it comes to choose the final 3 pieces, I will keep So this is the main consideration. Rather than like let's say value or whether it's collectibles to others or not. I don't think it's so important. Not at least to me. To keep the final three.
So I can fully understand what you're trying to say because I also have a piece of Rolex Air King which was handed to me by my father. So to me, it's also one of the most precious pieces that I will always keep because it's not just about the watch itself, but it's also the memories, the emotions that it drives the entire hobby.
And there's something that is interesting about the watch hobby, right? Because you start off with just collecting that watch, but however, with time, you give it that sentimental value, especially when you pass it on to somebody. It doesn't apply probably the same for a house, for a property, or for a car. Car maybe, but because in Singapore we won't keep our car for so long. So that also, So for watches, maybe a piece of jewelry and things like that, you can really pass it on, and that creates the sentimental value, or that gives you, let's say it is your first watch that you buy with your first salary. It's also a piece that you probably will remember for a long time. So that's something quite special for timepieces.
So before we end, so I believe you have an Instagram account, right? Where you have posted your entire hobby and your experiences. Maybe you want to share with us what's your Instagram account so we can get.
So my Instagram account is Timeless Experiences with a S. Why Timeless Experiences is because just now we mentioned, along the way when you collect watches, you also collect memories and you collect experiences. So this will stay with you for a very long time. So that's why I call my IG Timeless Experiences.
So thank you today, Melvin, for coming over and sharing with us your collection and your experiences. And I believe every one of us have learned a lot from your experience.
We just learn from each other. I think that's the fun thing about watches.
So thank you so much for coming. So we hope to see you, and we hope every one of us can follow the Timeless Experiences account and then maybe create your own journey. Thank you.
Thank you.